Living with Intention, written and published by Sonic Tome. You're here now, standing on the edge of a truth that most never discover. Your purpose is not something you find, it's something you awaken. It's not hidden in some far-off dream or unreachable goal, but alive, pulsing in the very fabric of who you are. The life you've been waiting for, the success you desire, the peace you crave, they're all within your reach, waiting for you to recognize the power already coursing through your veins. The question is, are you ready to claim it? Every day we make choices, each one either moving us closer to our truest self or keeping us anchored in what we've outgrown. We become prisoners of our routines, our fears, and the distractions that dull our vision. But underneath the noise there's a current, an unmistakable pull, an invitation to step into a life that reflects your deepest desires. This is the moment when everything can shift. This is the beginning of the journey back to your true self, where your actions and thoughts are no longer reactions to the world around you, but a direct reflection of your purpose, your vision, your soul's calling. In this space, every challenge becomes an opportunity, every setback a lesson, and every moment is an invitation to evolve. You're not here by accident. You've been brought to this very point for a reason. This is the time to stop looking for answers outside and start listening to the one voice that matters most, the one within. You have the tools, the wisdom, and the drive. It's all been there, ready for you to tap into. So, what would happen if you decided today that your life is yours to shape? What if you stopped waiting for circumstances to change and started changing how you approach everything? What if you fully embrace the power that is uniquely yours, recognizing that your path, your purpose, and your potential are all waiting for you to step into them, no longer as a passive observer but as the creator of your own legacy? This isn't about making promises to yourself you can't keep. It's about waking up to the undeniable truth that you have the strength, clarity, and ability to craft the life you've always imagined. It's not about some distant future. It's about the here and now. The decisions you make today shape the world you step into tomorrow. The question is, are you ready to step into the life you deserve? Chapter 1. Awakening to Purpose. At some point, we all feel a shift, a quiet calling that stirs from deep within. It's as if something is stirring in the depths of our soul, urging us to look beyond the surface of our daily routines and explore a deeper connection to ourselves and the world around us. This calling is the spark of awakening. It's not loud or demanding, but rather a soft whisper that nudges us to notice the infinite potential lying dormant inside. When we choose to listen, something profound begins to unfold. We start to see that every moment, every decision, has the potential to reflect our true essence, to align with the deepest parts of who we are. The power to shape our life doesn't lie in the circumstances we are born into or the obstacles that stand in our way. It is within us all along, patiently waiting to be unleashed. This journey is not about waiting for some grand revelation or perfect moment to arrive. It's about the realization that we have always been in control of our direction. We often give away our power by looking outward, seeking approval, validation, or the right conditions. But the truth is, the power to transform our lives resides within our ability to recognize our inner strength and purpose, and then to act on it with unwavering faith. Recognizing the power within requires a shift in mindset. It's an invitation to stop asking for permission, to stop waiting for things to be perfect, and to start taking ownership of the life we want to create. The first step in awakening is to accept that you have the capacity to influence the direction of your life, no matter where you are starting from. Purpose doesn't appear like a sudden epiphany. It reveals itself gradually, through the alignment of our actions with our values. It's less about finding a singular, defined path, and more about living each day with intention, staying true to the direction that feels most authentic. Purpose is born from the rhythm of everyday choices that echo our truest desires. It is not a destination, but a state of being that we nurture and evolve with each passing day. And yet, Awakening to purpose often involves confronting a subtle, yet persistent, resistance. We've spent years building comfort around the familiar, around the patterns and routines that protect us from uncertainty. The idea of stepping outside of this comfort zone to embrace a deeper purpose can feel terrifying. The mind asks questions that cloud the clarity we seek. What if I fail? What if I don't have what it takes? But this resistance is part of the process. It signals that we are on the edge of something significant. Every fear, every hesitation, is a signpost pointing us toward a growth we might otherwise avoid. By recognizing these moments for what they are, we can begin to embrace the unknown with curiosity rather than fear, understanding that the discomfort of transformation is simply the price we pay for a more fulfilling existence. Living with purpose doesn't require a grand, sweeping gesture. It begins with small, intentional steps toward alignment. Every choice you make in favor of your inner truth builds momentum toward a life that feels not just successful, but meaningful. Each action you take, no matter how small, plants a seed that will grow into something extraordinary. The key is to begin, to trust that the journey is just as important as the outcome, and to remain open to the evolving nature of your purpose as it unfolds. When you live with purpose, you begin to see that every experience, whether perceived as good or bad, holds value. Challenges become opportunities for growth, setbacks turn into lessons, and moments of quiet reflection illuminate the way forward. This process of awakening is not linear, but rather cyclical. At different stages of our lives, we experience renewed awakenings as our understanding of purpose deepens and evolves with us. Ultimately, awakening to purpose is an act of self-trust. It's a commitment to honor the inner wisdom that has always been there, waiting to guide us. It's the realization that you have within you everything you need to live a life that reflects your deepest desires, and that the power to shape your path lies not in external circumstances, but in the choices you make each day, starting now. Chapter 2. The Compass. Within every moment of our lives is influenced by subtle forces that guide us, whether we are fully aware of them or not. These forces, much like a compass, point us toward decisions, actions, and paths that reflect who we truly are. While the world outside often offers advice, direction, and expectations, the most powerful guide resides within us. It speaks in whispers, gently nudging us, yet so often we overlook it, distracted by the noise of the external world. The compass within isn't some mystical power, but a blend of instincts, values, and inner wisdom. It's the deep-seated knowing that arises when we listen to our heart, our intuition, and our conscience. In moments of quiet reflection, we can feel it, a pull toward what feels right even when we cannot fully explain why. This inner compass doesn't judge or criticize, it simply provides direction when we are open enough to receive it. What makes the compass within so powerful is that it doesn't just point us toward what we want, it directs us toward what we need. Often, we mistake desire for direction, chasing things that seem appealing but lack real depth or fulfillment. The compass within, however, is connected to a deeper sense of purpose. It calls us to align with our authentic self, not just to satisfy momentary urges. In a world obsessed with instant gratification, learning to trust this inner guidance is one of the most transformative practices we can engage in. At times, following this compass may feel counterintuitive. It doesn't always take us on the easiest path or the one with the least resistance. Often, it demands that we take a leap of faith, move into uncertainty, or let go of preconceived notions about what success looks like. But these moments of discomfort are precisely when the compass within is most needed, guiding us through the unknown toward personal growth and deeper fulfillment. The more attuned we become to this internal guidance system, the clearer its voice becomes. It's a process of sharpening our sensitivity, tuning out the noise of doubt, fear, and external influence. When we learn to trust this compass, we begin to make decisions with a sense of clarity that others may not understand. They might question our choices, not realizing that we are following an invisible force that is far more reliable than any external measure of success. This internal compass isn't static. It grows with us, evolving as we do. As we encounter new experiences, challenges, and transformations, our understanding of our values and what truly matters shifts. The compass doesn't tell us exactly where to go, but it shows us how to navigate the unknown. It helps us recognize when we're straying from our path and gently redirects us without harsh judgment. It's not a rigid set of rules, but an ever-changing current that helps us flow with life's natural rhythms. There are times when the compass may seem unclear or even silent, especially when we face significant change or uncertainty. In these moments, we must learn to trust the silence, knowing that the answers will come when the time is right. The compass within doesn't need to be constantly in motion. It waits patiently, giving us the space to reflect, recalibrate, and be still when needed. When we operate from this place of inner knowing, we move through life with an unmatched sense of peace. There's a confidence that comes not from certainty, but from the trust that we are aligned with something greater than ourselves. Every decision, every action, becomes an extension of this deeper truth. The compass within doesn't make life perfect, but it guides us toward what is most authentic, most meaningful, and most aligned with our soul's purpose. The key to discovering and following this compass is to create the space for it to speak. In a world that moves at breakneck speed, we often forget to pause, to listen, and to reflect. Yet it is in these quiet moments of stillness that the compass reveals its direction most clearly. By cultivating a practice of mindfulness, meditation, or simply being present, we allow the compass to emerge, guiding us not with force but with a quiet, steady hand. When we listen closely and follow its lead, the compass within shows us not just where we need to go, but who we need to become. It pushes us to grow beyond our limitations, to step into the version of ourselves that we are meant to be. The decisions we make from this place are not only more aligned with our true purpose, but are also more fulfilling, because they are born from a deeper understanding of what truly matters. Chapter 3. Reclaiming your focus. Focus is a delicate force, one that we often take for granted. In a world full of distractions, noise, and competing demands, maintaining focus becomes an act of deliberate choice. It's easy to get swept up in the current of daily life, allowing ourselves to be pulled in many different directions, each one seemingly urgent but ultimately shallow. Yet within each of us lies the ability to reclaim control over where we place our attention, to direct it towards what truly matters. At its core, focus is not just about concentration, but about intention. It's about knowing in every fiber of your being what is most important in this moment and aligning your actions with that truth. Reclaiming focus begins with identifying your deepest desires and clarifying the vision of the life you want to create. When you are clear on your purpose, distractions no longer have the same power over you. You begin to see them for what they are: temporary interruptions that hold no true weight compared to the long-term goals that are tied to your vision. The process of reclaiming focus starts with a conscious decision to block out the noise. This noise comes in many forms: messages, opinions, notifications, and the pull of the past or future. Each one calls for your attention, but not all of them deserve it. The more you allow yourself to be swayed by external inputs, the less control you have over your own mind. Reclaiming your focus requires the courage to silence those voices that are not aligned with your deeper purpose. It's about setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself, ensuring that your thoughts, time, and energy are not being scattered in 1,000 different directions. The art of focus is cultivated through practice. It's like training a muscle. At first, it can be difficult to concentrate for long periods, but over time, with consistent effort, the ability to remain present strengthens. To build this muscle, you must start small. Begin by carving out moments in your day when you can be fully immersed in the task at hand, without looking at your phone or being pulled away by the urgency of the outside world. These moments of deep focus allow you to reconnect with the flow of your work, where time bends and you find yourself in a space of natural productivity. But reclaiming focus is not just about cutting out distractions. It's also about creating the right environment for concentration to thrive. A cluttered mind often stems from a cluttered space, so take time to tidy up both your physical and mental surroundings. Clear away the physical distractions in your environment, creating a space that supports your focus rather than detracts from it. Simultaneously, create space in your mind by letting go of unnecessary worries, doubts, and judgments. When your surroundings and your thoughts are aligned with the task at hand, focus becomes a natural extension of your energy. Focus is also deeply tied to our ability to say no, to turn down requests or opportunities that don't serve our larger vision. It's about making conscious choices that align with your true desires, even when other paths may seem easier or more tempting. Often, we spread ourselves thin because we fear missing out or disappointing others. But saying yes to everything means saying no to the things that truly matter. To reclaim your focus, you must become comfortable with the discomfort of not being everything to everyone, and instead, choose to be everything to yourself and your goals. Another essential practice in reclaiming focus is learning to tune into the rhythms of your own energy. We are not machines capable of operating at full capacity all day long. Our attention ebbs and flows, and understanding when to push forward and when to rest is key to maintaining focus over the long term. Pay attention to your body, your mind, and your emotional state. Recognize when you are at your peak and harness that energy for the tasks that require the most concentration. On the flip side, recognize when you need to take a break and recharge. The more you learn to respect these natural rhythms, the more effectively you can direct your attention to what matters. Sometimes, the key to reclaiming focus lies in simplifying your life. In a world where complexity often feels like the norm, there is immense power in returning to the basics. Strip away the excess, the unnecessary commitments, the clutter in your environment, and the obligations that drain you. When you clear the noise, you create space for clarity. Focus thrives in simplicity, and the more streamlined your life, the easier it becomes to direct your energy toward what is truly meaningful. Reclaiming focus also requires an ongoing process of self-reflection. It's not a one-time fix, but a continuous practice of checking in with yourself. Regularly evaluate where your energy is going, whether you're spending it on things that align with your vision or getting lost in the distractions that drain your vitality. When you notice yourself straying, gently bring your focus back to the present moment. This requires a level of mindfulness that enables you to catch yourself in the act of losing focus and make a conscious decision to return to what matters. Finally, understand that reclaiming your focus is a process of returning home to yourself. In a world that constantly pulls us outward, true focus is an inward journey. It is the act of aligning your thoughts, energy, and actions with the deepest part of who you are, and allowing that alignment to shape every decision, every task, and every step you take. When you are aligned with your true purpose, distractions lose their hold, and focus becomes not just a tool, but a way of being. Chapter 4. Mastering the Art of Thought. The human mind is an intricate landscape, capable of producing thoughts that shape not just our perceptions, but the reality we experience. Every moment we are bombarded with a constant stream of thoughts, some fleeting, others lingering. These thoughts, whether we are aware of them or not, hold immense power over our lives. Our ability to master our thoughts does not lie in controlling every single one, but in shaping the patterns that emerge from our inner world. When we learn to guide these patterns intentionally, we begin to mold our reality with precision and purpose. It starts with the understanding that thoughts are not neutral. They are the seeds from which everything grows, for better or for worse. The way we think about ourselves, our circumstances, and our potential forms the foundation of every action we take. Our mindset, shaped by these thoughts, determines how we react to challenges, how we view success, and how we relate to others. A mind filled with fear, doubt, and scarcity will inevitably create a life filled with obstacles, while a mind trained in possibility, resilience, and abundance will open doors to opportunities. Mastering the art of thought requires cultivating an awareness of the internal dialogue that governs our lives. Much of what we think comes from automatic patterns formed over years of experience, conditioning, and environment. But just because a thought arises doesn't mean it's true or useful. The first step in mastering thought is learning to discern which thoughts align with our goals and which ones simply serve to reinforce limiting beliefs. This discernment is a skill that develops with practice, but once learned, it allows us to step out of autopilot and into conscious creation. One of the most powerful tools in this process is self-inquiry. Rather than accepting a thought at face value, we ask ourselves, is this thought helping me move toward my goals? Is this thought grounded in truth or fear? Self-inquiry invites us to examine our beliefs and assumptions with curiosity, not judgment. It's a practice of observing our thoughts from a place of compassion, recognizing that many of them were shaped by past experiences or external influences that no longer serve us. Through this lens, we can begin to rewrite our internal narrative, choosing thoughts that align with who we truly want to become. Another essential aspect of mastering thought is understanding the law of attraction, not in the sense of wishful thinking, but in the way our energy and focus influence what we draw into our lives. The thoughts we hold regularly shape our perception of the world, and the more we focus on something, the more it begins to manifest in our experience. When we focus on possibilities rather than limitations, we begin to see opportunities where others see barriers. This shift in perception requires discipline, for our minds are often quick to revert to familiar patterns of worry, doubt, and fear. But the more we deliberately choose thoughts that support our aspirations, the more our reality begins to reflect those choices. One of the keys to mastering thought is creating a mental environment that nurtures growth. Just as a garden requires care, sunlight, and nourishment, our minds need the right conditions to flourish. This means surrounding ourselves with positive influences, books, people, experiences, and environments that encourage growth. It also means being selective about the information we consume, as the content we take in shapes the lens through which we view the world. To build a mindset that supports our goals, we must feed our minds with thoughts, ideas, and images that inspire us to move forward, not those that hold us back. However, it's not enough to passively consume positive input. We must actively engage with it. The most effective way to cultivate a mindset that aligns with our goals is through consistent practice. This means repeating empowering affirmations, visualizing the successful realization of our goals, and regularly reminding ourselves of our strengths and capabilities. These practices create neural pathways in the brain that reinforce the desired mindset, making it easier to act in ways that align with our intentions. Over time, these positive thought patterns become ingrained, shifting the way we respond to challenges and setbacks. Emotions play a pivotal role in the art of thought. Thoughts and feelings are deeply intertwined, and learning to manage one requires understanding the other. Often our emotions are a direct reflection of our thoughts, and when we feel stuck, anxious, or discouraged, it's because our mind has taken us into negative, unproductive thought patterns. Mastering thought, therefore, requires emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize how our thoughts are affecting our emotional state, and to adjust accordingly. This means shifting from negative self-talk to thoughts that foster a sense of calm, confidence, and resilience. Mastering the art of thought also involves practicing mindfulness, the ability to be present with our thoughts without getting lost in them. By observing our thoughts without attachment, we begin to create space between ourselves and the mental patterns that once felt all-consuming. This space is where transformation happens, for it is here that we can choose which thoughts to engage with and which to let pass. Mindfulness is not about eliminating negative thoughts entirely, but about gaining the ability to respond to them in a way that serves our greater purpose. Finally, mastering thought is a lifelong journey. It is not about perfection, but about progress. Each day presents new opportunities to practice directing our minds toward what serves us. The beauty of this practice is that it grows with us. As we evolve, so too do our thoughts, becoming more aligned with our higher selves, our deeper goals, and our true potential. The more we consciously choose the thoughts that define our experience, the more we shape a life that reflects our deepest aspirations. The art of thought is not about controlling our minds, but about learning to work with them, using them as the most powerful tools we have to create the life we envision. Chapter 5. The Flow of Energy. Energy is the invisible force that drives everything, our thoughts, our actions, and our interactions. It is not just the physical energy that propels us through our day, but a deeper, more subtle force that shapes our lives in profound ways. When you align with your own flow of energy, life begins to move with a sense of ease and purpose. You no longer feel like you are pushing against the current, but rather riding its waves toward your aspirations. Our inner vitality is far more than just the biological function of our body. It is the pulse of our mind and spirit. Every thought we have, every emotion we experience, sends out ripples of energy into the world. This energy is constantly shifting and flowing, influenced by our moods, our intentions, and the environment around us. Learning how to harness and direct this energy can be the difference between feeling scattered and overwhelmed and living with clarity and purpose. At the core of this is the realization that we are not separate from the energy we seek. We are conduits for it. The same life force that powers the universe is within us, and we can tap into it at any time, as long as we are willing to become aware of its presence. The challenge is to create a relationship with our energy that is conscious and intentional. Just like a musician learns to play an instrument by understanding how it responds to their touch, we must learn how our energy responds to our focus, our thoughts, and our actions. A crucial part of harnessing your energy lies in understanding where it is going. The energy we invest in thoughts, emotions, and actions either nourishes us or depletes us. Every choice we make sends energy in one direction or another. When we focus on negativity, fear, or doubt, we drain ourselves of the very vitality we need to move forward. On the other hand, when we invest our energy in belief, in love, in gratitude, and in vision, we become unstoppable. The shift comes when we consciously choose to redirect our energy toward what aligns with our true purpose. Energy also flows through our bodies, and if we do not attend to the channels that carry it, we become blocked. Stress, poor habits, and negative emotions can build up over time, creating energetic blockages that prevent the natural flow. One of the most powerful practices in harnessing energy is learning to release tension, whether physical or emotional. When we let go of old patterns, limiting beliefs, and grudges, we open up the pathways for new energy to move through us. This practice requires us to be aware of where we hold tension in our bodies, in our minds, and in our hearts. It may be a subtle tightening in the chest when we're anxious, or a feeling of heaviness when we're overwhelmed. These are signs that energy is stagnating, and when we learn to release them, we create space for new energy to flow in. The way we manage our energy is reflected in our habits. Our daily routines either support or hinder our energetic flow. When we engage in practices that nourish our mind and body, whether through meditation, movement, or simply taking time for self-reflection, we are actively choosing to honor the flow of energy within us. This flow is not something that needs to be created. It is something we need to allow. It is already there, just waiting for us to notice it. The more we align ourselves with practices that foster vitality and health, the more we naturally tap into the infinite source of energy available to us. Part of harnessing this flow is learning to set boundaries. Not all energy is beneficial. Some interactions, environments, and commitments can drain us rather than fuel us. Being able to discern when something is taking too much from you is a crucial step in preserving your vitality. Saying no to things that do not align with your purpose is not just a matter of personal preference. It is a necessity for your well-being. This doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the world, but rather recognizing when your energy is being misdirected and choosing to redirect it toward what matters most. One of the most profound ways to align with your flow of energy is through clarity of intention. When you have a clear vision of what you want and the energy to back it up, things start to unfold in ways that feel effortless. The more precise your focus, the more your energy is channeled into that vision. It's like focusing a beam of light. It becomes intense, powerful, and transformative. Without clarity, however, your energy becomes diffused, scattered in a million directions, never fully landing on anything. It's also essential to recognize the cyclical nature of energy. Just as the seasons change, our energy ebbs and flows. There are times when we are full of vitality and creative ideas, and there are times when we feel drained or uncertain. This is natural. To harness your energy, it's important to honor these cycles. When you feel abundant with energy, use that time to create, to work, to push forward. When you feel depleted, it's just as important to rest, recharge, and allow yourself the space to rejuvenate. The key is not to resist these cycles, but to flow with them. The more in tune you are with your own rhythm, the more effectively you can harness your energy for your highest purpose. Another powerful way to harness your energy is through connection to something greater than yourself. When you feel connected to a higher purpose, to the universe, or to a deeper sense of meaning, your energy flows more freely. This connection allows you to tap into a boundless source of creativity, inspiration, and motivation. It reminds you that you are not alone in your journey, and that the energy that drives you is part of something far bigger. Whether you find this connection through nature, spirituality, or your community, it is a vital part of sustaining the flow of energy that propels you toward your goals. Lastly, energy is not just about what we do. It's also about how we show up. The energy we radiate is felt by those around us. When we align with our inner vitality, we not only enhance our own lives, but we also become beacons of energy for others. Our presence becomes magnetic, drawing in people, opportunities, and experiences that resonate with our own energy. This is the beauty of living with intention. The more you align with your own purpose and energy, the more it resonates outwards, creating a ripple effect that transforms your world. Chapter 6. Aligning Actions with Desire. Desire is the spark that ignites your journey, but it's the actions you take that keep the fire burning and propel you forward. It's easy to dream, to imagine a life filled with success, happiness, or fulfillment. But without the bridge between what you want and what you do, your dreams remain just that, dreams. The difference between aspiration and realization lies in your ability to translate your deepest desires into consistent, purposeful action. When you truly desire something, it moves beyond a vague wish into something tangible. It's not just a passing thought, it's a pull at your core. But desire alone doesn't create change. It is action that forges the path from where you are to where you want to be. Every action you take should be a step that inches you closer to your vision. The key is understanding that your actions must be aligned with the essence of your desire. This means that every choice, every step, and every decision must reflect the life you want to create. It starts with a clear understanding of what you truly want, not what you think you should want, or what others want for you, but the deep, authentic desires that come from within. These desires often live beneath the surface of daily distractions and societal pressures. It's easy to get caught up in doing what is expected, what is safe, or what others deem important. But true alignment requires you to listen to the whisper of your own soul, to get in touch with what excites you, what challenges you, and what calls you forward. Once you have identified your true desires, the next step is to break them down into concrete actions. Desire without action is like planting seeds in soil, but never watering them. It's the small, consistent efforts that add up over time and create lasting change. But those efforts must be deliberate and purposeful. Each action you take should feel like a natural extension of your desire, guiding you one step at a time toward your vision. It's not enough to act randomly or to act out of habit. Every movement you make must be purposeful, directed by the clarity of your intention. This is where discipline comes into play. While desire provides the motivation, discipline is the muscle that ensures your actions remain consistent, even when the initial excitement fades. Desire will fuel you in the beginning, But discipline keeps you moving when the road gets tough or when things don't go as planned. It's easy to take action when you feel inspired, but real growth happens when you continue to take purposeful steps in the face of uncertainty, doubt, or even failure. This is what separates those who merely wish for change from those who make it happen. The beauty of aligned action is that it creates momentum. When your actions are aligned with your desires, each step builds upon the last. This creates a sense of flow, a rhythm between thought and movement, desire and action. With every action you take, no matter how small, you reinforce your commitment to your vision. You start to feel the energy of your desire growing stronger because you are feeding it with consistent, aligned action. This creates a cycle where your actions continue to inspire your desire, and your desire continues to fuel your actions. It's also important to understand that not all actions are equal. The key to alignment is prioritizing actions that truly move you forward, rather than simply staying busy or doing what feels comfortable. There's a tendency to get caught up in tasks that give the illusion of progress, but do little to actually take you closer to your goals. These are often distractions disguised as productivity. Aligned actions are purposeful, even if they seem small or insignificant in the moment. It's the compounding effect of consistently choosing the right actions that creates real progress. In moments of doubt or confusion, it can be helpful to check in with your core desires. Are your actions in harmony with them, or are you being swept away by external demands? Are you doing things that nourish your soul, or are you simply going through the motions? The more clearly you can answer these questions, the easier it becomes to recalibrate and refocus your energy on what truly matters. Sometimes the hardest part is trusting the process. It's easy to feel discouraged when the results don't come immediately, or when things don't unfold as quickly as you'd hoped. However, aligned action requires patience. It requires trusting that every step you take is building towards something greater, even if you can't always see the immediate payoff. The key is to continue taking inspired, purposeful steps, even when the results aren't immediately visible. When actions are aligned with desire, they create a sense of fulfillment. Not just because you are moving toward your goal, but because the journey itself becomes meaningful. Every step along the way feels like progress, even the setbacks. Each challenge becomes an opportunity for growth, and each small victory builds momentum toward the next. You begin to realize that the process of moving from intention to action is as valuable as the destination itself. You are living in alignment with who you truly are and what you truly want, and in doing so, you create a life that reflects that authenticity. In the end, the journey of aligning your actions with your desires is not about perfection. It's not about doing everything right or following a prescribed formula. It's about being in tune with yourself, being willing to take deliberate steps toward your goals, and trusting that your actions are leading you toward the life you've always wanted. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and knowing that each action, no matter how small, brings you closer to your vision. Chapter 7. Building momentum. Momentum is not just about speed. It's about the sustained, consistent flow of energy that drives you toward your goals. Imagine a train slowly picking up speed on its tracks. In the beginning, it requires effort and intention to get it moving, but once it's in motion, it becomes increasingly easier to keep it going. The same principle applies to your life. Building momentum doesn't happen overnight, but with intentional steps, you begin to generate the energy that propels you forward, often in ways that feel effortless as time goes on. The first step in building momentum is to recognize that it's a process, not an event. It's easy to get excited at the beginning of a new project, to feel inspired, and to take action. But the real challenge comes in the consistency. Momentum is built through routine, through the small, seemingly insignificant actions that are repeated every day. The more you show up for these actions, the stronger the momentum becomes. It's about doing the work, even when it doesn't feel exciting anymore. The key is in repetition that gradually ingrains the action into your daily life until it becomes automatic. The beauty of momentum lies in its compound effect. Every positive action you take builds on the last. At first, you may not see the immediate results, but over time, those actions accumulate, creating something far bigger than the sum of its parts. It's like planting a garden. You begin by planting seeds, but those seeds need to be watered and nurtured regularly. You don't see the fruits of your labor right away, but with every drop of water, every bit of care, the plants begin to grow, and before long you're harvesting more than you imagined possible. Consistency is the cornerstone of momentum. It's easy to feel inspired to work hard for a short burst of time, but true momentum is about creating systems that make continued effort sustainable. This is where habits come in. Habits are the building blocks of momentum. When you create habits that are aligned with your goals, you make progress without having to think about it. These habits become automatic actions, like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. And before you know it, they are propelling you forward without you having to summon the same level of energy or focus that you initially needed. To build momentum, you must also eliminate friction. The more barriers you have between you and the actions you want to take, the harder it becomes to create momentum. This could mean simplifying your environment, removing distractions, or organizing your day so that your actions are streamlined. The less effort you need to expend to start your work, the easier it is to get into the flow. The goal is to create a system that makes your desired actions feel natural and easy to integrate into your routine. There's another important aspect to momentum, the ability to acknowledge and celebrate progress no matter how small. This doesn't mean patting yourself on the back for every trivial task, but rather recognizing when you've made real strides, even if those strides are small. It's about creating positive reinforcement that fuels the next step. When you celebrate the small wins, you reinforce the habit, creating a cycle where your brain associates effort with reward, and in turn, increases the likelihood that you will continue to take action. Over time, as you build momentum, you'll begin to notice that the work no longer feels like work. It becomes part of your identity, part of who you are. The initial effort it took to build the habit has transformed into a fluid, almost effortless motion, driven by the systems you've set up. The effort that once felt like a grind becomes a natural part of your life. You no longer have to summon willpower because the system is in place. It's like stepping into a current. You just go with it, and it carries you forward. But it's also important to understand that momentum can work both ways. While positive momentum builds success, negative momentum can work just as powerfully to drag you backward. If you consistently engage in behaviors that don't align with your goals, over time, those actions will compound into negative results. It's the same principle, but in reverse. That's why it's crucial to be vigilant about where you are investing your time and energy. If you slip into old habits or fall into a negative cycle, it can take significant effort to break the inertia and regain momentum. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. A key to building lasting momentum is self-compassion. You don't have to be perfect. Some days you may fall short, and that's okay. What matters is that you get back up and continue the journey. The process of building momentum is not about flawless execution. It's about showing up day after day and making incremental improvements. Over time, these small improvements add up, and what once felt impossible becomes second nature. The role of your environment cannot be overstated when it comes to building momentum. The people, places, and things you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your ability to build and sustain momentum. When you immerse yourself in an environment that supports your goals, it becomes easier to maintain focus and consistency. This could mean surrounding yourself with people who inspire and challenge you, creating a workspace that encourages productivity, or eliminating distractions that hinder your flow. Momentum is not just about your actions, it's about setting up a system of support that makes those actions sustainable over time. Lastly, building momentum requires a deep belief in the process. Trusting that small, consistent actions will lead to big results is key to overcoming the inevitable challenges and setbacks along the way. When you trust the process, you show up, even when the path is unclear or the destination seems distant. Trusting in your ability to make progress, no matter how small, builds the energy you need to continue. Momentum doesn't just push you toward your goal. It builds your character, your resilience, and your capacity to create the life you want. Each step you take not only moves you closer to your dreams, but strengthens the foundation for everything that lies ahead. Chapter 8. Resilience in the face of challenges. Challenges are an inevitable part of the human experience. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, or how much success you've achieved. Obstacles will appear. Some will come in the form of unexpected setbacks. Others might come as moments of deep personal struggle, but the true test is how you respond to them. Resilience is not about avoiding hardship. It's about how you remain steadfast in your pursuit of purpose when life inevitably pushes back. It's about turning moments of adversity into opportunities for growth. When faced with obstacles, the first instinct might be to look for a way out, a way to avoid the discomfort. But real strength is built when you choose to face these challenges head-on, to move through them with intention. Resilience isn't about being unaffected by difficulty. It's about finding a way to move forward despite it. It's the capacity to bend without breaking, to endure without surrendering, and to keep going even when the path is unclear. In moments of trial, you find out what you're made of, not by what you can avoid, but by what you can handle. In those moments of challenge, it's easy to let fear take hold. Fear of failure, fear of disappointment, fear of the unknown. These are natural responses to discomfort. But true resilience is found when you acknowledge that fear and decide to take action anyway. You don't need to eliminate fear, but you can choose not to let it dictate your next step. It's about taking the energy of that fear and transforming it into fuel for forward motion. In the face of adversity, you find clarity and strength, not by waiting for fear to pass, but by moving with it. The key to resilience is perspective. It's about recognizing that obstacles are not the end of your journey, but part of the journey. Each challenge holds a lesson, each setback an opportunity to refine your approach. It's easy to look at obstacles as roadblocks, but they're often the signposts that point you in the direction of something greater. Every time you push through a challenge, you gain not just experience, but wisdom. What seemed impossible at one time becomes a stepping stone, and with each new obstacle, you strengthen the very qualities that will carry you to success. Resilience is also about adaptability. Life doesn't unfold in straight lines, and often, the road you set out on will change course. Resilient people don't hold on to rigid plans, but instead, they learn to navigate the unexpected. They are able to adjust, reassess, and change direction when necessary, all while maintaining their sense of purpose. Flexibility in the face of adversity isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Knowing when to pivot and how to course correct is often what separates those who succeed from those who give up. It's about embracing the flow of life rather than resisting it. Sometimes resilience means having the patience to wait and trust the process. When things don't happen as quickly as you'd like or the outcome isn't immediate, it's easy to lose hope. But resilience doesn't just involve pushing through challenges, it also involves having the patience to allow things to unfold in their own time. There will be moments when you need to take a step back, reassess, and allow your efforts to take root. The most successful people are often those who can withstand the periods of waiting, trusting that their efforts will pay off, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Resilience isn't a trait that is reserved for the exceptional few. It's something that can be cultivated by anyone willing to invest in it. It's a skill that grows with practice. Just as physical muscles grow stronger with regular exercise, your inner resilience strengthens the more you face and overcome adversity. Each challenge becomes a workout for your resilience muscle, and over time, your ability to persevere expands. Like building physical strength, the growth of resilience happens incrementally. You won't wake up one day completely impervious to life's difficulties, but with each trial, you become a little more capable, a little more confident in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Building resilience also involves understanding your own limits. It's about knowing when to ask for help, when to take a break, and when to push forward. Sometimes being resilient doesn't mean doing everything on your own. It means knowing when to lean on others for support, guidance, or strength. It's about building a network of people who uplift and encourage you when you need it most. While the journey is personal, the strength to continue often comes from the people you surround yourself with. There's also a powerful act of resilience and self-compassion. Often, in the face of adversity, the inner critic becomes louder. You might start questioning your worth, your abilities, or whether you even deserve success. But resilience means counteracting that inner voice with kindness and understanding. Instead of beating yourself up over mistakes, embrace them as part of your growth. Recognize that everyone falls at times, but it's how you rise again that truly matters. Being resilient means forgiving yourself for missteps and focusing on the next step forward, rather than dwelling on past failures. Resilience can also emerge from a deep-rooted sense of purpose. When you are connected to something larger than yourself, whether it's your personal mission, your values, or the impact you wish to make in the world, it becomes easier to face difficulties. Purpose serves as the compass that guides you through dark times. It provides a reason to keep going when everything feels impossible. When you have a clear sense of why you're doing what you're doing, no challenge feels insurmountable. It's the why that makes the how possible. There are also times when resilience is simply about finding the strength to keep your head above water. Not every day will be a victory. Not every obstacle will be overcome with grace. Sometimes, simply staying afloat during a storm is the most courageous act you can perform. Resilience isn't about constantly moving forward at a rapid pace. It's about the quiet persistence of not giving up, even when you feel like you're treading water. It's in these moments of endurance that the true strength of resilience is found. Resilience doesn't mean never feeling pain or hardship. It means feeling it fully, and yet still finding a way to move forward. It's the capacity to be tested, to endure, and to emerge stronger on the other side. When you embrace resilience, you are not just surviving the storm. You are learning to dance in the rain, knowing that each drop is part of the beautiful journey of life. Chapter 9. The dance between patience and progress. There's an undeniable rhythm to life, a pulse that dictates the ebb and flow of our journey. The desire to move quickly toward our goals often clashes with the quiet, persistent energy of patience, which reminds us that not all things unfold in an instant. The struggle between these two forces, urgency and timing, is a dance that requires balance. When we rush through life, we miss the subtlety of the moment, the lessons in the pauses. When we wait too long, we risk never moving at all. But when we learn how to weave urgency and patience together, we unlock the power to move purposefully through our pursuits. We live in a world that praises speed and efficiency, where the next goal is always just a few steps away, and progress is expected to be linear. Yet, real progress isn't always visible, nor is it always immediate. Sometimes it's in the waiting, in the silent hours between the visible moments of action, that true transformation occurs. It's easy to become frustrated when things aren't moving at the pace we expect. The pressure to achieve quickly can cloud our judgment, pushing us to act before we're ready. But when we push too fast, we risk missing the essential moments that shape the outcomes we seek. Timing, then, becomes just as important as the action itself. Learning to dance between patience and progress means developing a deeper understanding of timing. Timing isn't about waiting indefinitely for things to align. It's about knowing when to act and when to step back and allow things to unfold. Just as a flower doesn't rush to bloom, neither should we rush our growth. There are seasons of rapid development and seasons of quiet preparation. The challenge lies in knowing which season you're in and responding accordingly. Just as a farmer waits for the right time to harvest, there are moments in your journey when action is essential. But equally, there are times when patience will provide the space for the seeds you've planted to take root. Patience doesn't mean passivity, nor does it imply that you're idle while waiting for change to come. It's an active form of waiting, where you remain engaged with your goals but release the need for immediate results. It's an understanding that every step forward, even the smallest one, contributes to the larger picture. This doesn't mean slowing down out of fear or complacency, but rather slowing down in order to observe, to understand, and to make more thoughtful choices. It's about realizing that rushing might bring short-term gains, but it rarely results in sustainable success. At the same time, there's an undeniable urgency in pursuing goals. Time is a finite resource, and the clock is always ticking. There's a drive that pushes us to reach for more, to move faster, to not waste a single moment. This urgency gives us focus, it fuels our ambition, and it keeps us moving. Without it, we risk stagnation, staying in one place too long, waiting for the perfect moment that may never come. Yet even in the face of urgency, we must remember that haste often leads to mistakes, burnout, or decisions made from fear rather than wisdom. The balance, then, lies in maintaining that forward momentum, while knowing when to slow down and trust in the unfolding process. Patience is about timing, yes, but it's also about trust. Trusting in the process, trusting in the timing of your life, and trusting in your own ability to make decisions that will guide you through challenges. It's understanding that not every step must be made with the same urgency, and that progress doesn't always look like a straight line. There are days when you'll feel like you're standing still, and yet, in reality, you are laying the groundwork for what's to come. In those moments, patience is not a sign of inaction, but of deep trust in the unfolding. At the same time, urgency is a reminder that there is power in now. Time waits for no one, and while there's wisdom in waiting, there's also wisdom in acting decisively when the moment calls for it. Sometimes waiting too long can lead to missed opportunities. Sometimes the only thing standing between you and progress is taking that first step, even if you're unsure of the outcome. There's beauty in stepping forward with conviction, even when the future is uncertain. It's the energy of pushing through resistance, of making the decision to act in spite of doubt. The dance between patience and progress requires awareness. It requires knowing when to push yourself and when to let go. It's not a constant battle, but a flowing exchange where each moment provides the opportunity to either step forward with intention or step back with wisdom. At times, you might feel like you're moving at a pace too slow to measure. Other times, you might feel like you're moving too fast, driven by a fear of falling behind. It's in the space between these extremes where true mastery lies. To move forward with intention means recognizing the moments when you need to pause, when you need to prepare, and when you need to act with urgency. It's about having the presence to stay attuned to your goals, to your intuition, and to the timing of life around you. As you cultivate this balance, you'll find that progress becomes less about pushing through and more about moving with purpose and awareness. Each moment is an opportunity to align your actions with the greater rhythm of your aspirations, learning to navigate the dance between patience and progress with grace. Chapter 10. Living in Harmony. There is a quiet force in the world that often goes unnoticed until we consciously pay attention to it. It's the natural rhythm of life, the balance between all that makes us whole. Yet, in the noise of our daily lives, it's easy to forget that true fulfillment lies in achieving a state where mind, body, and spirit move in harmony. When all parts of us are aligned, we experience a flow that allows us to be fully present and fully engaged with the world around us. This balance doesn't come easily, but it is essential for a life that feels both meaningful and grounded. Every person, in their pursuit of success or happiness, is on a path of seeking alignment. Yet, how often do we stop and ask ourselves whether the parts of our being are in agreement? How often do we run our lives as if they were separate chapters, compartmentalizing our physical health, mental clarity, and spiritual well-being, rather than seeing them as interwoven threads that together create the fabric of our existence? Our mind is a powerful tool, capable of shaping our realities, yet it can also be a source of constant chatter and distraction. The thoughts we carry determine much of what we experience. When the mind is consumed by worry or negativity, it's hard for the body or spirit to feel at peace. If we do not cultivate a practice of quieting the mind, whether through meditation, introspection, or simply slowing down, we risk becoming overwhelmed by the constant influx of information and stress. Yet when the mind is calm, clear, and focused, it serves as the anchor for the rest of us. It's like tuning an instrument before a symphony. Only when the mind is aligned can the body and spirit find their rhythm. Similarly, the body, our vessel for moving through life, deserves just as much attention as the mind. It's easy to forget that our physical health is not just a result of how we treat our bodies in moments of crisis, but how we tend to it consistently, with intention. The foods we consume, the movement we embrace, the rest we give it, all of these things influence the energy we carry. When our body is nourished, rested, and well-moved, it provides the energy we need to support the other aspects of our being. It's the bridge between thought and spirit, grounding us in the present moment and connecting us to the world around us. But even when the mind is clear and the body is cared for, we cannot forget the spirit, the essence of who we are. The spirit is the intangible part that connects us to something greater than ourselves. It's what gives us our purpose, our passion, and our drive. It's the spark that ignites us when we feel lost, and the warmth that comforts us in times of uncertainty. A spirit that is nourished thrives on connection, whether to nature, to others, or to a deeper sense of meaning. When our spirit is in harmony with our thoughts and our actions, we feel a sense of inner peace, as though we are walking in alignment with our true self. Living in harmony doesn't mean that every day will feel perfect or balanced. It's not about striving for an ideal where everything is always in sync. Life is dynamic, ever-changing, and sometimes chaotic. But when we cultivate a conscious awareness of the interconnectedness of our mind, body, and spirit, we can begin to notice when one part is out of balance. Just as a musician adjusts their instrument when it's slightly out of tune, we too can adjust ourselves. It might mean taking a moment to breathe when the mind is racing, stretching when the body feels stiff, or re-engaging with our deeper purpose when we feel disconnected from it. There are moments when one aspect of our being needs more attention than others. Perhaps you're physically exhausted, and your body is demanding rest, but your mind is racing with thoughts. Or perhaps your spirit is yearning for connection, but your body is too tired to respond. In these moments, rather than seeing them as weaknesses, we must see them as cues, signals that something needs our attention. When we listen to these cues, we begin to cultivate a deeper sense of respect and care for ourselves, allowing us to make adjustments that will restore harmony in all areas. The beauty of living in harmony is that it's a lifelong practice. It's not something that can be achieved and then forgotten. Just as an orchestra requires constant tuning and adjustment, so too does our inner world. By staying in tune with our physical health, mental clarity, and spiritual well-being, we can navigate life with a sense of grace and flow, even in the midst of challenges. Harmony is not about perfection. It's about attuning ourselves to the natural rhythms that support our growth, healing, and connection to the world. When we are in balance, we act from a place of grounded strength, clarity, and love. We find ourselves not striving endlessly, but moving with intention, aligning our actions with our values and finding fulfillment in the process. It's a deep knowing that we are exactly where we need to be, not in spite of life's fluctuations, but because we are learning to dance with them. Harmony is not static. It's a living, breathing thing just as we are. It requires attention, care, and above all, the willingness to embrace the ebb and flow of life with an open heart. Chapter 11. Embracing your legacy. Legacy is not something that simply happens after you're gone. It is the life you lead each day, the choices you make, and the mark you leave on the world around you. It is the quiet ripple of actions that start with a single gesture, but have the power to extend far beyond your own life. The truth is, we are all creating our legacy in every moment, even if we are unaware of it. The way we treat people, the decisions we make, and how we respond to challenges all contribute to the story that will be told about us. We often think of legacy in grand terms, visions of monumental achievements or large-scale transformations. However, true legacy is more subtle. It's woven into the everyday choices we make, the way we show up for others, the consistency with which we live our values, and the compassion we extend to those in our circles. Every interaction holds the potential to influence someone else, to change the course of their thinking or actions. A single moment of kindness, a word of encouragement, a decision to forgive. These actions compound over time and create a ripple effect that can be felt for generations. When we live intentionally, with awareness of the impact we have, our legacy becomes a reflection of our true essence. It's easy to get distracted by the noise of the world, to focus on short-term goals and the daily grind. But when we take a step back and reflect on the bigger picture, we begin to realize that each action, no matter how small, is shaping something larger. The time we spend with loved ones, the effort we put into our work, and the way we handle adversity all speak to the legacy we're building. It's about the habits we cultivate in our own lives and how those habits influence those around us. Living with this understanding requires a deep commitment to the present moment. It's a recognition that our time here is finite, and with that knowledge comes the responsibility to make our lives count. But this isn't a pressure, it's a liberating realization. When we understand the weight of our actions, we begin to choose more consciously. We ask ourselves not only what do I want to achieve, but also what do I want to leave behind. We often look to those who came before us to understand what legacy means. We admire their courage, their wisdom, and their ability to make a lasting impact. But what if we stopped waiting for someone else to define legacy for us and took ownership of it ourselves? What if we asked, what can I give right now, in this moment, that will outlast me? It's not always about achieving fame or recognition. It's about being authentic, living in alignment with who we are, and contributing to the world around us in a way that feels true and meaningful. Our legacy is not just the culmination of what we do, it is how we do it. The energy with which we approach life, the integrity with which we handle our responsibilities, and the compassion we offer to others creates a legacy that reflects the best of who we are. It's not about perfection, but about consistency and intention. When we live authentically and with purpose, we begin to create a blueprint for others to follow, whether they are consciously aware of it or not. Sometimes it's the quiet moments that have the greatest impact. It could be the way we listen when someone needs to be heard, or the sacrifices we make without expecting anything in return. These are the invisible threads that tie us to others and leave an impression long after we're gone. Our legacy doesn't need to be broadcast to the world to be meaningful. Its true power lies in the way it lives on through the lives we touch. And yet, we must also remember that our legacy is not solely ours. It is shared with those who walk alongside us. The people we nurture, the communities we contribute to, and the causes we support. All of these will carry pieces of us forward. We are not isolated beings, but part of a larger fabric. The more we give, the more we allow our legacy to multiply in ways that transcend our own lifetime. Embracing your legacy is about being conscious of the impact of your living. It's about choosing, each day, to align your actions with the values you hold dear. It's about living in such a way that, even when you're not in the room, your values and beliefs continue to influence the world around you. This doesn't require grand gestures or worldwide recognition. It simply requires a commitment to living authentically and thoughtfully. In doing so, you create a legacy that is lasting, not because of what you've done, but because of who you've been and how you've made others feel along the way. Your legacy begins now. It starts with a single action, a single choice, a single moment of living with purpose. And in that choice, you lay the foundation for the ripple effect that will continue long after you've moved on. Conclusion. You've walked this far, and the path you've chosen now lies before you, clear, open, and full of possibility. What you've discovered is not a set of rules or a quick fix. It's a way of living that integrates who you truly are with the life you desire to lead. The power to create, to transform, and to align your mind, body, and spirit is not just a lofty ideal. It is your reality. You've always had it. It's just been waiting for you to remember. The journey to living with intention isn't a destination to reach, but a way of being that unfolds moment by moment. Every choice you make, every thought you entertain, every action you take sends ripples through your life, reshaping the world around you in ways that might seem small, but are, in truth, monumental. What starts as a single conscious decision today transforms into a life that reflects your deepest desires tomorrow. Now, the question isn't about what more you can learn or what you haven't yet figured out. The question is about embracing what you already know and trusting in your ability to shape your future. You've been awakened to the power within you, and it's time to fully step into that knowing with courage and confidence. So take a deep breath. The life you've envisioned is no longer a distant dream. It's here, it's now, and it's yours for the taking. You have everything you need to move forward with purpose, to create with intention, and to live in harmony with the truth of who you are. The only thing left to do is to begin, and there is no better time than right now. Your journey has just begun, but with the clarity and strength you now carry, there's no telling where it will take you. The world is waiting for you to show up, to live fully, and to make the impact only you can make. Now, step forward and let the world see what you're capable of.